Okay, so we are live on Facebook, and I guess we can start. Okay, let me just get confirmation from Facebook that we are live. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up if we're live? I'm not sure. Okay, so we are streaming on Facebook, I suppose. Great. So thank you everyone for coming to today's workshop. We are going to be doing lots of creative things today because we are working with Figma. So essentially what Figma is the design and creativity tool that assists in prototyping and pretty much design implementations. And this can be, a simple process within development, so the coding world, or it can be, user testing or just simple prototyping in itself. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And so essentially, this is the website that we are going to be doing everything on. I will get more into it, but in the meantime, if you would like to do the prototype along with me, like just do the workshop along with me, I will give you a minute to create an account completely free. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be talking about why we use these kinds of stuff. So yeah, so this is what you can be doing. In the meantime, I will ensure that I can be able to see questions, etc. Okay. Yeah, so feel free to ask questions throughout the workshop if you're stuck somewhere or if you don't know how to do something, and we'll definitely work together and to fix it and to just, let's just have fun. It's a creative tool, and, creativity is synonymous with fun in a way. Okay, so one way in which we can use Figma is that, for example, let's say that we are going to develop a website or a mobile app or something, and we have an idea in our mind, but it's sometimes difficult to actually communicate this idea, just in words. So when you create designs on a prototype, essentially, you can actually communicate your idea and vision through a prototype. So there is no miscommunication in that regards, for the most part, at least. So as you can see in this image, they are prototyping an actual mobile app. And with prototyping, it behaves like an actual app without the brains and logic, of course, but it behaves like an app. So you get a look and feel of exactly what you will get as the end outcome. Okay, cool. So now I have an account already. So I'm just going to log in my personal account. So cool. So I would still like to see, questions, Q&A. Click try Figma for free. Yes, that's exactly what you can do. And you can just sign up and create your own account. So that's what you can do for sure. Awesome. So I think everyone has already created their account. If not, I guess just catch up. So with Figma, I already have many projects here, but in your sense, you probably wouldn't have any projects. So what is it called again? Oh, it's called Figma. So I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat. Figma, Figma. So I'm just going to type it, Figma. Yeah. Figma, Figma. Okay. So we are going to read along. And so in this sense, I'm going to create essentially a new draft, and by pressing the plus sign. So I hope that everyone is here. So I'm just going to label my project beta hack. because this is a workshop for the hackathon. So essentially with prototyping, you have all of the necessary tools to create something that looks like an actual app. So to start off, what we have here, we're starting off with the blank layer, I guess you can call it that. So everything we do will go on this layer. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here in the prototype section. And in the prototype section, I'm going to then go on the left side where I click frame. And you can see that I have been given the option to have several different kind of prototype layouts. Now, as I mentioned, prototyping is essentially almost like a mock scenario of what we would expect, on the app, on the website, etc. So for example, if I was creating a mobile app on the iPhone, I would select one of these, maybe on the iPad, one of these, and so on and so forth. But today we are going to create a super simple web page. So I'm just going to go and click desktop. And we have our first desktop here. So we can scroll up and down to view and, well, zoom in and out as well. So I think it's really important to always label your components on Figma. So I'm just gonna, call it desktop 1. So this is our, let's say, our first screen, our first page, or it's a blank page, obviously. So this is what we're gonna do. And yeah, we can just leave it as desktop 1, that's fine. So when you click the actual desktop and go back to the design, you can see several things on your right side. So when we move it, we've noticed that the X and the Y axis are changing. So the X and Y axis are changing because the actual desktop screen changes its position on the plane. Now let's say I want to change its width and make it smaller, for example. So I'm going to change the width, W for width, and H for height. So let's say I want to make the width smaller, and I did that. And you notice the desktop screen got smaller. And let's do again with the height. And that's it with the height. And you can do colors. So fill is essentially colors. So you can fill it. Cool thing is that you can also do some linear gradient stuff, if you're feeling really creative. And of course, you can also add an image. Super cool stuff. But mostly we'd like a nice clean background, a nice white desktop would do. So I hope everyone has a desktop up so far. If not, then just let us know in the Q&A and we can see where we can help you. So one of the first steps before actually prototyping something on Figma, go to the blank page. Okay, so how do we do the blank page again? So I assume that you're on this one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go click on prototype. Oh, how to create a blank page. Okay, so I will go here to drafts and press the plus, and it says new file. So I'm going to go in new file and then prototype. And then I'm going to click frame and then select desktop. So it's those 3 steps. We're going to click prototype on the right side, then back to frame on the left side, and then desktop. Okay, cool. So as I was saying, oh, you don't see that, okay. Perhaps you can tell us what you don't see or like what you do see, and then we can kind of help you from there. Okay. So one of the first things before actually putting your vision on the actual prototype is to draw it on a piece of paper. I mean, we could get old school like that and draw things on a piece of paper and just sketch it out, sketch your actual idea out. So in my case, I sketched my web page out and I wanted it to look something like this. So essentially what I want to do is I want to create like a Pokemon service app that's a website that's gonna find you the best Pokemon, right? So I'm gonna have my logo on the top left. I'm gonna have some headers here. So home, Pokemon's contact, a button to join the website, and just some text. It's a super simple website, but just having this drawing is really going to guide me when I make my actual prototype. And it's also in front of me. I have my paper right here, so I can easily follow along with the paper. Awesome. So let's start essentially just putting stuff there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create my logo, because that's the important thing on a website, right? So what I'm going to do is here on the top left panel, we have something called shape tools. Now there's a lot of tools that we can use to create something on your prototype. So for example, if I have a rectangle and I put it here and go back to the design, I can change the color, add some strokes. So what essentially a stroke is like the like a border around it. So I can add, let me do a lighter color so you can see, a light green stroke, and I can increase the thickness, and then you can see that. I'm going to increase it some more. So you see the thickness. You can make it inside, outside, center, some fancy effects. For example, if you want to drop shadow, and then you can maybe increase it by, let's say 20, 10. Oh, that's not cute. So just, that little shadow effect, that 3D effect. And yeah, you can also do some layered blurs, and there's so many things that you can do, but this is not what we're going to do right now. We're just going to delete it. So I'm going to quickly delete it. And so I personally want my logo to be a nice circle, but if you want, you can have a square logo, a triangle logo. It's really up to you. So that's the cool thing with designing, right? It's really up to your heart content. So I'm just going to go with a simple circular logo. So same thing on the right side. You can see that the width and the height, I would like for them to be the same. So I'll just put 180, 180. And you can also click this button on the right that says Constrain Proportions. So what that means is that right now my proportions are not constant. So I can make it super like skinny and then, super wide and whatnot. But if I want it to remain the same proportions, I'll click it and I can just expand it. And, oh, did I do that? So it pretty much keeps in line with its proportions, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to keep my logo here. And there are several things you can do. So it's really important to actually label your components. So just so you know that what it is, because if on the left side here, you see something called eclipse, or sorry, not eclipse. Is it called ellipse? I'm not so sure how to pronounce it, but I'm going to call it ellipse. And it's like ellipse 1. What is that? So it's really important to like label your stuff. So what I'm going to do on the left side, I'm going to double click it and I'm just going to rename it. So I'm probably going to rename it like logo circle, just for the sake of it. Now, in the logo circle, you can add your own things, as in you can add some font, some nice text. So let's say I'm gonna add some text. I'm gonna call it Psalm. Let me zoom in so you can see. Maybe Psalm, and then I go here on the right side. So this is all the styling. Yes, so I can keep the font. Maybe I'll just make it a bit bigger so it looks like an actual logo. Oh, too big. Yeah, maybe make it a bit bold, add some color. Let's make it red. So this can be, for example, a very simple logo, as simple as you want to make it. Or I can, let's say, add an image. So how that's going to work is I go to File. Yeah, so the menu bar on the top left, File, and then place an image. And so I'm going to look through the images that I have and select one that I would like to be my logo, for example. So I'm just going to do that. Well, obviously that's not going to be how it looks. So I'm just going to put the images on top, and then I kind of want to mask it. So I'm going to show you guys what I did again. So I have my circle, and I have this image that I like. So I'm going to put my image on top of the circle. And on the left side, it's important that your image component is on top of the circle component, because that's really about layers. Okay, so Neil, if your rectangle disappeared again, you can just go again and create a new layout. So go to prototype here, and then click on the left side frame, and then you will see on the right side all of your options that you can choose. Okay, so from here, I'm going to click my image, and on the top, I'm going to say use as a mask. Whoops, am I supposed to put the logo on top? Oh, what did I do? Okay, I think that's not supposed to be there. Oh, so the image is on top, and then, ooh. Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to actually click the circle, and then on the top, use as a mask. So this is really cool, because then I can have like a really, really cool logo. And as you notice that my image, it's still moving, and then like suppose I accidentally click something and then it moves. So you can also lock your components in place. So I click the lock right here, and now I can't move it at all. So this is really good to have when you don't want to kind of mess up your stuff. And what's really important is that we want to keep our panel on the left super organized. So with that being said, we want to put everything regarding the logo, we put it in the logo group. Everything regarding the headers, we want it in the header group. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight both of these, right click, and I'm going to click group selection. So this is just an organizational thing, good practice, and everything is still here. So what if I see group one, I'm going to rename it to logo, because now I know that everything under this is a logo. So I will go here, and then I see my image and my logo circle. Super cool. So I'm just going to move this just to be sure. And one cool thing that you can use on your desktop, if you're someone that's very, very much into ensuring that everything is in line, and things are really in order and stuff, you can use a really nice feature. It's in the layout grid. So let's say I want to use columns, let's say 10 columns. Yeah, you can split your page into different columns and rows. And this kind of helps you put things in line. So let's say I want the logo to go right on the left side of the first column, just to make sure everything, you know, is in line and it looks good. Cool. So I'm going to remove it again because, oh, also I wanted to mention, forgot to mention, you don't have to always remove it. You can just, you see this I button? Okay, awesome, Sunil. So the thing is, you don't have to remove it, right? You can just hide it. Because let's say I want it again in the future. Instead of just creating it again, I'm just going to make it visible and then make it not visible again. So just stuff like that. Okay, so I feel like my logo is a bit too big. Yeah. Oh, I have to unlock it. Once you unlock it, then you can make changes. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a decent sized logo. Okay, awesome. So now that we have our logo, let's go on to the next thing that we wanted to do. I finished my logo. Let's add some font, you know, some basic text. We want, you know, like a nice caption or something that's gonna pretty much invite users to stay on our website or pretty much tell users what our website is about. So I'm going to create some text here and I'm just gonna call it like home, right? Because this is our home page. And on the right side, you can pretty much do whatever you want with this text. So you can change the font. I like this font. I think it's pronounced Montserrat. I can be wrong though. But I like this font, for example. And because it's that that text that's gonna really like grab your attention, I guess, I want it to be nice and big. So I'm gonna make it 60. And yeah, and it's bold. So for me, that looks good. I'm just gonna move it here, maybe a bit down. Cool. So now the users know, for example, like what page they're on. So we have this, and now we're gonna do our, I guess it's called subtitle, I'm not sure. So we want a little description, right? So I'm gonna put home to the best Pokemons. So I'm gonna go back here in the text, and I'm gonna add the text again. Okay, so what did I write? I wrote home to the best Pokemons. Cool. As you can see right now, it's super, this is not how I want it. And that's because the box, it's very narrow. It's not wide enough. So I'm just going to stretch the box like that. And once again, because this is not the main title, I kind of want to make it just a bit smaller than the home. So I'm going to make it 40. And I think 40 is pretty decent. Okay. Okay, home to the best Pokemons. Yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, forgot the exclamation mark. Not in small things, you know, they make a huge difference. And now I want a very nice join now button. So I want users to know that they can click the button and then they can pretty much be a part of our website. So there's two ways. I'm going to show you a way that you can make a button, and I'm going to show you a better way in which you can make a button. So for example, if you were to design, maybe you would make a button like, okay, let's make a nice rectangle, and then let's add some text. So I'm going to press like join now and make the text like that. So I'm going to do something like that, right? Now let's say I want to add some more text. Join now. I don't know, what do you write? Join now for Pokemons? I'm not sure. So just for example, I just want to show you an example. So as you know, our text is like increasing. Our text is increasing, but our box kind of stayed the same. And this can be a bit problematic. By box, I mean the button background. And this can be a bit problematic because it's not flexible, if you get what I mean. So there's another option where you can just kind of make it a bit simpler. So let's just say I add the text, and there is something called add auto layout. So I'm going to show you what that does. So let's say I'm going to add the background. So the background, I specifically I want like a really nice yellowish color. No specific reason, I just like yellow. So I am going to do this. Yeah, because I like this yellow color. And the cool thing about having auto layout, and I did that by here, right click, auto layout, is that if I want to add more text, so join now and sign up. Isn't that so cool? So I don't have to worry about any box or anything. I just have to, type, and it's cool. And of course, I kind of want to add some, some cushioning to the box. So this is called padding, by the way, not cushioning, it's called padding. So horizontal padding, just make it maybe a bit more, because we want it to have a nice clean look, so I think so far it looks nice. So I kind of want to move everything up a bit. So instead of moving everything up individually, what I'm going to do is highlight everything and just move it up like that. Right. And don't forget to name your stuff. So for example, this frame 1, I don't know what is frame 1. So I'm going to call it join now button. And maybe I can leave this as home. And then maybe I can leave this as home subtitle, right? Cool. So now it's looking good so far. So we have our logo, we have this, and now let's add some headers. Because on every website, we have, headers to navigate to different pages and stuff. So that's cool. So far, so good. I hope everyone is with me. And yes, so maybe I want to go back to my desktop and look at the columns again. See, things are not in line. So I just want to make sure things are in line, maybe just to, oh, I need to unlock it so I can move it. Right, so now that I feel like things are in line, I'm going to lock it back so that I don't accidentally move it out of its place. So I'm going to hide those lines again. So now we can see everything is in line. It looks great. Awesome. So now let's work on our headers. We want 3 headers. One is called home, one is called Pokemons, and the third one is called contact, just in case people want to contact us. So in certain scenarios, there are times where you've seen some websites with like 10 different subheaders, like it's just a whole list of headers. And I'm actually going to show you an easy way how you can pretty much do headers by using components. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add the first header, which is called home, right? Just as we agreed. So as we said here, it's going to be called home. Now I feel like this font is a bit too big, so I'm going to make it font size 30. I think 30 is a bit decent. So I'm just going to do that and that. Okay. Let's say a situation where you have like 3 different headers, right? So I put home, home, and home. This is just an example, by the way. You don't have to do this. And let's just say, you know what? I'm not really feeling the black color, and I kind of want to change it to red. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go here, change this to red. I'm going to go here, change that to red. And this is super tiresome. I mean, imagine if you had like 10 of these. It's ridiculous. So what I'm going to do instead is make use of something called components. And essentially what a component is that you have a parent component, and like the child's components. And whatever you do to the parent's components, it will happen to the child's components. So essentially, if I change the parent component's color from black to yellow, all of them are going to change to yellow as well. So this is really good in cases like this where you just, where you want to mass change a lot of things at once without having to manually go in and change each, at a single, at once, at a single time. So our parent component is going to be called home. So I'm going to create a component out of it. So as you can see on the left side, it changed to this component symbol. So this component symbol is like a diamond. So it's like a diamond shape with 4 diamonds in it. So that's what it is. Now, how to create child components is the question now. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a Windows laptop or Windows machine, you will be pressing the Alt button, which is on the bottom left of your keyboard. If you have a Apple machine, then you would be pressing Option. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my Alt or Option, depending on your machine, this button on your keyboard, and I'm going to drag it to the right or wherever you want to put it. If you want to put it here, or if you want to put it, I want to put it here. So that's that. So how do you know if you're successful? You would know if you're successful because you have a parent component, which we already created, and then your child component looks like it has a diamond. So it's an empty diamond, and then the parent component is like the diamonds with the diamonds, if that makes sense. So I'm going to change the text here from home to what? We wanted to call it Pokemons. Cool. So I'm going to change it to Pokemons. And as you can see, we want some more width. So I'm going to go back to the parent component, which is home, and add some width. Just like that. Whoa, nice. And I'm going to do the same thing with contact, right? So we want another child component. So I'm going to go back to my parent component, which is called home. Once again, press down the Alt if you're Windows and Option if you're Mac. Press it down, and then we're going to drag it. Yes, just like that. And also, as you see, we have 3 home components now. Remember, I said we got to rename these things to avoid confusion. So I'm going to go here. If I click Pokemons, it shows me that this is the component that is related to that. Okay, so if I click Pokemons, it's going to show me that this is what is reflected on this item that I clicked. So I know that that is that. And if I click this, it shows me this. If I click this, it shows me that. So we're just going to rename it because we want things to be very legible. So now we're going to have contact, which is our third one, our third header. And I'm going to rename this to contact. And then we also have to rename these, I believe. Yes, Pokemon. Cool. So just to give you an example of how cool these components are, let's just say, once again, I'm not feeling the black. So I'm going to go here and then change the color. And as you can see, whatever I do to the parent component happens to all the child components. So this is a really nice feature if you just want to kind of test something but not have to do so much additional manual work. If I want to change the font, it's going to change for all of them. Do you see that? Really nice. But you know what? I really like the black, so I'm going to keep it at black. And remember, I said grouping, very important because we want to keep everything organized. We love organization. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight these 3 things. And I'm going to go here. It already highlighted it for me. So whatever I do on the screen here, it also reflects on the layer panel. So I'm going to right click, and you see group selection. So I'm going to group the selection, and I'm going to call this group headers. So when I expand this group, I can see everything in my header group. So that's really cool. So I'm going to lock this in place. And yeah, so now, so far it looks good. We have everything is locked. So that means we cannot move anything. Now, I'm going to make sure once again that things are in line. So as you can see, my headers are not in line. Let me just move it to a bit. Yes. I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, I think it's fine. Cool. Let me remove this again. Well, not remove, I'm just gonna hide it. Awesome. So now we have something that's looking almost like a website. So far, so good. So what's next on our agenda? So I wanted to add like an image here, or just an image, or just something that's gonna beautify my page, because the page looks a bit dull, and I kind of want to make it look pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I want to add a photo here, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can add your own photo, or you can pretty much do what I'm doing, and I'm going to add like a really nice SVG file. So what I'm going to do is add a circle. So a nice big circle here. And I think I want to keep it gray just for the time being. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this. So as I mentioned before, you can add a photo here if you want. So the same way that you did the logo, you can add the photo. Or you can do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go to this really cool website. It's called undraw.co/illustrations. I'm going to share this in the chat. Not sure how to share it in the chat, but this is the website, undraw.co/illustrations. So here, what is so cool is that you have so many illustrations, like of so many different things. So if you want to make a website about voting, you have a really cute graphic here about, I don't know, you want to make like a map kind of website app, you have something here. Something about aliens, you have that option as well. And these are all SVG files. So what's so cool about SVG files is that you can take it and make it your own. So you can change the color, you can change the sizing, you can remove something. Like if you don't want this girl's hair to be black but yellow, you can do that as well. And even here, you can change the colors, and it's super responsive. It's really cool. So I'm just going to keep it as it was. And I'm going to look for a nice picture that I would like for my homepage. And since my website is about finding Pokemons, I have done some research, and I feel as though this one would look really nice. It's called Joyride. So it's this girl riding on this animal. We're just gonna pretend like this animal is a Pokemon. I know it looks nothing like a Pokemon, but hey, it's gonna be our Pokemon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download this SVG. So as you can see, I've downloaded it. Okay. And I'm just going to import it now onto our Figma template. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is to do that. So I'm gonna go back to my menu and File and Place Image. So pretty much the same steps what we did there. And I'm going to go to where I downloaded it, which is here, my Undraw Joyride SVG file. I press open. And as you can see, my cursor kind of changed, because that means that they're allowing me to actually put it on the template now. So I'm just going to drag my picture there. It's a bit too big. Right. So as you can see here on the left side about SVG files, like everything is a vector. So So for example, like, let me zoom in so I can show you what I mean. So for example, this tree is a vector, the teeth is a vector, you know, her shirt, her pants is a vector, everything is a vector. So what that means is that it's completely editable. So if you want to edit something, then you can. So for example, let's say I don't like this cloud. I know it's a very picky illustration. Whoops. Let's say I don't like this cloud. So I'm going to like highlight it. What is it? Where is it? Ah. You know what? Let's do something simpler. Let's say that I'm not feeling the color of her pants that this SVG file has provided me. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to change it to nice, I don't know, dark yellow, dark green color. And the same thing for our friend here. Let's say I don't like this color. I want you to look like Pikachu. And I think Pikachu is yellowish, right? Like a nice golden yellow. Yeah. So it, it looks more like a Pokemon now. So you can do all of these stuff, right? With SVG files. I'm going to move the eye a bit here. Well, now it looks like a scary Pokemon. We want a friendly Pokemon. So I'm just going to keep it there. So that's pretty much how we're going to do our image. And you can also do something similar. You can add your own image, as I said, or you can add an SVG file from this website on Draw. There's so many options that you can choose from. So far, it looks really, really good. We have a really, really nice website, and we have pretty much all the components that we wanted. And I pretty much kind of want to just show you all some extra features. Totally up to you. Don't forget to lock your stuff, and yeah, lock it and also group it. So we want to group the actual image and the picture just so that it's, you know, one item, so that it becomes one item. So I'm going to highlight what I want to group, right click, group selection. And what do I want to call it? I want to call it maybe, what describes it? Let's call it landing image. That's a bit complex. I don't know. I'm just going to call it home image, just for the sake of it. So it's really nice because like on the left side, on my layers, when I look at it now, I know exactly what everything is. So if I want to edit something, I know exactly where to look at, and I save so much time by doing that. So just one thing I kind of want to just show for fun, and it's called vectors. So back to this left panel up here, I'm going to add a pen. So if you remember from high school, vector is something that has, what is it? Magnitude and direction. So this essentially is a vector, right? And then when you combine different vectors, you get a shape, if that makes sense. So I just created like vectors. Wait, what is it doing? Oh, so I just created like a shape from vectors. And this is like my shape. So I can like fill it. Oops. How do I fill it? Let's see. Can I fill it? Oh, you want to know why it's not filling? Because I didn't close the shape properly right there. So we're going to create a proper vector. Let's create a simple one, just because I want to show you how they work. Okay. Did I do it? Yes, I think it's nicely enclosed. Yes, see? And then you can fill it. So what that means, why I'm showing you this, is because as this SVG file is just made out of a bunch of vectors. Like this little tiny thing is, I don't know, it can be like her shirt or something. You know what I mean? So all of these stuff are just little vectors. Why isn't my file showing? Did you place, oh, sometimes you have to like place it in the, on the actual template. So let me just show you once more. So you go to File, you select the image, Place Image, and after I selected my image, you have to actually tell Figma where you want the image to go. So then you have to actually put it on the template. So try it again and see if it will work this time. So back to my vectors, I just want to, spice up the page, make it look pretty. So what I'm going to do is I have I would like to add some kind of color at the bottom because the page is mostly white for the most part. So I just want to add some color here, make some waves at the bottom, make it look cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw random lines. Whoops. So vectors can be a bit tricky to play with. I am still struggling with vectors. Whoops. Oh, damn. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so we go here, we go for pen. We do that. Okay, we're getting something. We're getting that. I'm gonna add some like that. Whoops, nope. Some waves. Whoops. Cool. That, and that. Okay, that was not easy at all, but I just connected some things and I created like a really nice wave kind of looking thing on my page. And I made sure that it was enclosed. And you also have to remember that when it comes to layering, everything that you want on your template should be underneath your template. So I moved the vector under my desktop because I want it to be under the actual desktop. So let me show you how it was before. So it looked like this before. So I could have seen like all the outside and stuff, and that wasn't really nice, and that's not really what I want either. So once I move the vector in the desktop, it just shows me what I actually see on the desktop. Now, as I said, I wanted to add some color, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename it. Remember, always rename. So I'm going to call this footer because that essentially is what it is, right? Just a footer. So I'm going to fill it with a color. And you know what? I really, really like this pink color. Whoops, what am I doing? So I really like this pink color, but I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know what the hex code is or anything. So Figma is really smart because it does two things. At the bottom here, it actually shows you the colors that you have previously used in your file. So for example, this yellow here is probably the color of my Pokemon. This green here is most likely the color of the trees. And I think this pink here is the color of the shirt. So that's one way in which you can get colors that you have already used on your page. Or you can use this color picker thing. So I click the color picker and I go to her shirt, and then I click the shirt, and it matches the color code to that of the shirt. And I kind of want it to be, it's a bit too bright, I would say. So from 100%, I'm just going to lessen the transparency to maybe like 80. Let's see if that makes a difference. I guess. And I noticed that there is some like black line here, which I don't like. And that is because of the stroke. So for example, if I was to increase this to 10, you can see that black line. Does it look good? I mean, it don't look bad. I guess I will keep it. I don't know, it looks kind of cool. So it looks okay. So I'm just gonna keep it like that. What about the text? What text? If a text is too small, then you can just increase the size as well. So I feel as though this should be higher a bit again. So I'm just going to unlock it. So home, that and that. I'm going to unlock it and then just drag it up a bit, just so it's in line with the image. And I think this looks really good. Oh, let me just move the header a bit to the left. So I'm going to unlock it, move it a bit to the left. Yeah. Do I want to see if it's in line? At this point, it's probably not in line, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So this is really cool. So we have our first desktop, right? Our first page. So for example, if I was to give this page to a developer, that developer would have a much, much better idea of my vision and what I want on my web page. And this is much better because this is easy for them to actually code something visually. So for example, if I was to go here on my top right, we have a play button. It's called present. So if I click it, it's going to take me, and I'm going to make options. I'm going to do the third one. So it's fill, scale down, or up to fill. So just to see my website. So this is so far how my website looks. But to be honest, the website is like really, really boring. Like it does absolutely nothing. And that's not what we want, right? We want a bit of an interactive website. And why this is so beneficial is because, for example, when you have your hackathon next week, we don't necessarily expect you all to code. Oh, Edison, I really cannot see the chat actually, that's why. What if I want to delete something from layers without deleting my previous work? So what does that mean, layers? Like, do you want to delete something? So for example, you can delete like individual stuff without deleting like the entire thing. Okay, so I hope everyone is up to speed. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add some actual action to this page. Oh, before I go there, I was talking about something. Oh yeah, for the hackathon next week, we don't necessarily expect you to actually code something, you know, with programming languages and stuff. So with that being said, you can actually present your idea and final solution. Final solution with Figma. So with that being said, you can, you know, actually have an app or prototype without actually building one. So that's a really cool benefit of this. So let's continue with actually making some interactive stuff. So you know what, we are not going to create this entire page again because we are, you know, we're very time efficient people. We like to save energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste the actual desktop into our second desktop. So I'm going to copy, taking like, yeah, so I do on Mac, it's like Command C and Command V. On Windows, it should be Control C and Control V. So we just copy and paste. So as you can see, we have desktop 1 and desktop 2. So let's rename these desktops so that we know what is what. So we have the home page. This one, let's call this one the Pokemons page. Pokemons. And let's create our third page since we're at it, you know. We're going to call this third page contact because remember, we want our contact page as well. So I just copied it 3 times. Make sure you rename so that you know what is what. So now we have 3 pages that are exactly the same, which is not so good. So we're just going to edit our pages so that they look, you know, they look different. So our homepage, I would say our homepage is done. It looks fantastic. Let's move to our second page, which is the Pokemons page. So I'm going to block the homepage and the contact page because we're now working on the Pokemons page. Okay. So what did I want on the Pokemons page? So I want to rename the header to Pokemons. Oops, oh yeah, it's locked. That's why I can't edit it. So I just unlocked it. Pokemons. And what can I put as my subtitle? I'm gonna put let me see. I'm going to think of a Pokemon, or you can just put like a simple subtitle. It doesn't have to be anything complex. I'm going to put home to the best spot. Find your perfect Pokemon. I think that's great for now. Don't forget to rename. Oh. So I'm just going to keep it as that just for the time being. Okay. So I also want to change the photo. So I'm going to go back here to my favorite website where I'm going to look for photos. And I found this really nice thing. I don't know. Let's just say if I search for animal, let's see what I get. Okay. So I think this looks really close to like a Pokemon. I'm just going to like remove the drink though. The drink looks weird. But that's the cool thing with SVG files, right? You can edit it literally to your heart's content. So I've downloaded the file. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this picture because it's irrelevant for this specific page because we already used it on the first page. Don't forget. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to bring the image onto the template. So back to our menu, file, place image. And I'm going to look for the image now. It was called this one. So it's our quote unquote Pokemon drinking a drink, I guess, but we will modify it. So I'm going to drag it here into my circle. So that's so cool. So now we have this. And I felt some type of way. I don't like the fact that it's drinking a drink. So I'm going to take the drink away from the Pokemon. So I'm going to do that by, deleting. These are all vectors. This little ice cube, these are all vectors. Remember how we created them earlier? That's pretty much like a bunch of vectors to create an actual object. So we're going to remove the drink, the ice cubes, yes, and then the straw. So we have a thirsty Pokemon. And yeah, so that's our second page. I think the second page is great. Looks really cool so far. So Pokemons, find your perfect Pokemon. So for example, if I was to give this page to a developer, for example, as I mentioned, when it comes to prototypes, they don't have like the background logic or the brain. It's just a functional design in a sense. So if I was to give this to a developer, what he or she would do, for example, would kind of like plug in an API here instead of a picture, maybe like an API or something where it can display all the different Pokemons that, you know, we have in store, for example. So this is one thing that a developer can do in this section. And I think you guys can also do this in the future as well, in one of the future workshops. So that will be really cool to actually bring this prototype to life. So I think the Pokemon page is done. So we're gonna lock that into place and we're going to unlock the contact page. Okay, so now we go here to our contact page and I'm going to open it up. Okay, and we're going to change the big title first to contact. Let's call it contact. Whoops. Oh, see, I have to unlock it. I have to remember to unlock it, then you can edit it. So contact, the home subtitle. So maybe I can just say something like find us. Find us. Yeah. Or is there some like cool Pokemon catchphrase that I can use here. Not sure. But anyways, don't forget to rename everything. I feel like I didn't rename this thing at the second page, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, because I think I forgot to do that. Yeah, I did. See? So I'm just going to unlock this, and I'm just going to call it Pokemon image. Okay. Find us. I'm just going to leave it that. And once again, I want to change my image because it's reflective of the page. So you don't want, we want the pages to have different images, right? So I'm going to go back here, and because it's like a contact find us thing, I'm going to go in the search and do like a map. So do I like any of these maps? I do. I like this map. So I'm going to bring this map into our template by downloading it first. And I'm going to remove the current one. And the same process again. So menu, file, place image. And then I'm going to look for my image, undraw map, cool. And then I'm going to tell Figma where I want my image to be. So I'm going to put it here. And this is essentially my map. And I think right now, oops, I think right now we're pretty good on the fact that we have 3 separate pages, but then now the question is, how can we connect those pages? And this is where a lot of the navigation stuff happens. And it's really cool. So I'm just going to show you simply what the logic is. So let's go back to our home page. So how does the home page work? Or how do we want it to work essentially? So this is our home page. And for example, if I, the user, click Pokemons, I want to be taken to this page, right? And if I, the user, click the contact button, I would love to be taken to this page. Similarly, if I, the user, click home, I want to be taken back to home. Contact, taken to the contact page. And it's the same logic for this page as well. So this is what we're going to do essentially. So follow along and let's see if we can make it to navigate as we want it to. Okay, so as I said, we want the Pokemon header to take us to the next page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the actual Pokemon header and make sure it's highlighted. And I am going to go to this subheader on the right called prototype. Okay. And I'm going to look at interactions. So essentially what an interaction is you, I don't want to use the word interacting again. An interaction is simply you doing something on the template and the template behaving back, or giving some kind of feedback to your gesture, for example. So let's say so the logic is when I click Pokemon, I want to be taken to the next page. So this is our interaction. So I'm going to add an interaction here. So it says click, and there's lots of things you can do instead of click. So let's say if I want to hover over it, so that means when my cursor goes over it, it will do something. Or on drag, if I drag it, it will do something. But we just want to do click, right? Because when we click it, we want something to happen. So on click, I want to navigate. So navigate to means is that it's going to take us somewhere. So when I click this, I want to be taken to our second page, which is Pokemon. Whoa, did you see that? We just created a connection. Fantastic. And now we're going to do the same thing for contact. So I'm going to click contact, make sure only contact is highlighted. and I'm going to create an interaction. So when I click, I want to navigate to our contact page. Okay. So actually, before we move any further, let's actually like see if it's working as we want it to. So I'm going to go back here on my top right in the present, where you see the play button. I'm going to adjust the resolution. So when I click Pokemon, you can also see like the cursor, it changes when I go there. That's really nice. That means it's clickable. You can also like click and then you see those two things are blue. That's kind of like it signifies what is able to be clicked on the template. So let's say I click Pokemons. What do we expect? We want to be taken to the Pokemons page. And that's exactly what happened. Super cool. So we haven't done anything on this page yet. So let's do that now. So let's go to this page. So same thing, what we did earlier. So I'm going to lock my home page because I finished with that. And I'm going to unlock my Pokemon page because we're working with that now. So I want to click this home button and I want to add an interaction. So whenever I click that home button, I want to navigate to my home page. So the connection goes there, back to the home page. You see that? Cool. Same thing with the contact. When I click the contact button, I want to create an interaction that when I click it, it takes me to the contact page. Exactly. So as you can see, it created another one here. Cool, awesome, awesome. And now for our final one, we will do the same thing. So we lock the Pokemon page because we finished working on this. I'm going to unlock the contact page because we're working on that now. So I'm going to do the home and I'm going to create an interaction. So when I click the home button, I want to navigate to home. Cool. And then the same thing for, well, contact, it doesn't make sense because we're on the contact page. Let's do Pokemon. I want to create an interaction where when I click it, I will navigate to the Pokemon page. So as you can see, all these connections have been created. Connections. Woo! Okay. Awesome. So essentially what we've done is that we've created a bunch of connections to different pages. And what we expect is that we expect it to behave like an actual website. So when I click something, it takes me to another page and, just stuff like that, how a website behaves. So now we're actually going to test it out and hopefully it does behave like a website. So what we're going to do is back to the present, to the play button. And I'm going to change the resolution just so I can see everything. So this is our website. And I'm going to click Pokemons. It should take me to Pokemons. I'm going to click Contact. It takes me to Contact. Super cool. So as you can see, it works exactly like a website would work. And this is essentially what a prototype is. We want to show our end users what they can expect as the final result or the final outcome. And it's super simple. It can be done really quick, and you don't have to invest so much time and resources and money in building an actual website or mobile app, because you can test different features and different stuff on an actual prototype before actually implementing it in using code. So this is pretty much how we use Figma to design and prototype. I really hope that you all learned something. This webinar recording will be shared on Facebook, I believe. So you can always watch it again and kind of learn, watch it and learn, if you missed something. And of course, you can always write to me and I would love to help you all with stuff. regarding Figma. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask now, because we do have 15 minutes. We do have 15 minutes until the actual session finishes. So feel free to write some questions in the chat box, and we will gladly help you answer them for the time being. Yeah. Do we have any questions? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And yes.